Throughout our lives, we collect words to define ourselves. We create our narratives based on our past to better understand ourselves and present that identity to the world. Unfortunately, we get caught up in the idea that this story, our personality, is fixed and determines our future. According to Dr. Benjamin Hardy, this misconception is not only restrictive but can also chain us to our current states and never grow into the people we want to become. Throughout the book, he demonstrates via solid science and personal stories how we can transform ourselves based on our goals. From there, even our personality changes as a matter of course. Using the concepts from this book, you can take steps and make power moves to turn yourself into the person you want to be, regardless of your existing personality. After all, your personality isn't permanent, and it's up to you to design it intentionally yourself. Personality tests have become a profitable industry. It's used to gauge how suitable people are for a job or promotion, not just for you to gain a clearer insight into the kind of person you are. Personality tests are flawed. For one, they rely on self-reporting, and people lie even when they think they're being honest. They also lack context and consistency. These tests break you down and fit you into little boxes that are meant for a great number of people. Even though it feels like it, personality tests don't tell you who you are. You're more than just a label, and you know yourself better than some test. Although it can be difficult to describe yourself, there isn't anyone better to do so. Only you would know what you would do in every circumstance, and that's essentially what personality is. And since these reactions change, there is also no one static version of you. You've probably noticed this yourself, the way you act when you're around different people changes. Everything changes according to context. Beyond that, we also change as we live more of life. It's only expected that we grow and develop the kind of person we are. It doesn't make sense that this should stop being true once we've become adults. It might be comforting to know that you're the same person you were years ago, but it also means that you haven't grown at all. The heart of the matter here is that the brain is reluctant to change. We're scared of making choices because they have consequences, and you can always become worse instead of better. At the same time, though, you're limiting yourself from all the potential you have. We know that people change, so why don't we take our future into our own hands and make sure we shape it into the form that we want? In doing so, we will intentionally become the person that we want to be, personality traits and all. When we think about personality, we think of traits, whether they are organized, punctual, etc. But when you think about a person, those words aren't what will stick out. Instead, you may remember how that person helped you or how they make you feel. Personality becomes an action, not a sentient description. Having a goal is the best way to shape the person you want to become. When you have something that you want, something to aspire to, your entire identity starts to revolve around it. From there, you may find yourself changing to suit your goals. Your future self should be what determines your personality. It is the most powerful influence you can have. This is why having the right goal can change your life. If your goal is to just survive, you'll find yourself never growing beyond the person you are now. Worse, you might find yourself becoming someone you dislike. Setting a goal can be challenging. There are so many things to aspire to in this life. People often settle with the idea of being successful, which comes with varying definitions. If you come from an underprivileged background, you may be at a disadvantage. If you don't get exposure to what you can become, then you will be forced into the roles that exist within your horizons. Another source of goals is desire. You won't do anything if you don't want to. But because we want to survive, or because we want the money to buy non-essential items, we will do it anyway. Your desires can be trained too. Even if you don't like something, if you want it enough, you can program yourself into liking it. Lastly, you are more likely to pursue goals that you already have some chance of achieving, although that is by no means a prerequisite. You can always get better and gain more confidence as you seek to attain your goal. Once you have a goal to help form your identity, you must commit to it fully. When you do things half-heartedly, it is easy to let go of your goals. It is understandable why people hesitate to declare their intentions to the world and rush at them head-on. It would be devastating to fall short, hard to recover from such an experience. But when being 100% committed to the goal creates accountability, it also helps to have people around that will help maintain accountability and focus. Some people say that it isn't the destination that matters, but the journey. The journey that you take does not have quantifiable outcomes, can be improved upon. Goals need to be clear and measurable. Becoming good at art is vague, whereas attaining a showing at a gallery is measurable. When the results are obvious, it will help to build confidence and to continue to pursue the goals set. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a debilitating condition, but you don't have to have it to be chained by bad things that have happened in your past. Trauma can exist in the form of negative experiences that shape who you are and how you move through life. Trauma can become something we build our lives around to avoid triggers. When this happens, we may chase smaller goals to lessen the impact of failure. If trauma is holding you back, find a good therapist. This person doesn't judge, but rather listens attentively and asks meaningful questions. They share the burden of your bad experience and give you a safe environment to unload. When you face your trauma in this context, you can make them something to grow from. We think of our present as a result of our past, and this includes our personality. This is a troublesome belief to put stock in, as the past can change. Just as history textbooks can include or exclude certain narratives as time goes on, your perception of the past can too. This is because while the past stays the same, your opinion of it changes. If you agree with or relate to the person you were before, then you have not changed. If you don't, it is proof that you and your personality have. You are not the same person that you were before. That said, we should not let the past dictate our future. Whether we've failed or been successful, holding on to the events that came before prevents us from moving on. When you tell a different story about your past, you're free to pursue your future. Think of your past as something that happened for you rather than to you. Your mind is a powerful tool. It makes decisions every day, from the mundane maintenance chores to life-changing choices that can determine your next decade. Unfortunately for us, the brain can be bad at this job. It seeks to regulate rather than transform. After all, the sting of failure hurts indeed. Your mind and your body are wired to maintain the status quo. This is called homeostasis. It will make you latch onto behaviors and thoughts that you don't necessarily want and those that aren't good for you. This is why it's important to have an outlet for emotions that we don't fully express. These emotions are telling you something while they hold you back. To hack your subconscious and make it work for you, you must be able to focus and think clearly. One way to do this is by fasting, which can give you clarity and a deeper connection to yourself. Giving to charity can also put you into a positive and giving mindset that can be transformative. Visualization is one of the best ways you have of picturing your future and motivating yourself to get there. It may seem like a pointless exercise, but it can be a powerful tool. This is especially true if you can utilize your environment to remind you of your goals. You can do this by setting up a vision board or just writing down your goals where you can see them every day. If you have something that reminds you of how good you can be, keep it close to you and hold yourself to that standard. You need to create environments where you have to perform well. Up the stakes and set a deadline. You'll be surprised at what you can achieve when you force yourself into it. When you have the right environment, you have the perfect space to focus and make powerful moves forward.